Hey guys, welcome to my series on law of taxation. This is Ganesh Pujari, and one of the frequent requests I get from my students is please go slow. Now, if you watch my videos, I am never slow because I want to cover maximum of contents in 8 to 10 minutes so that I give maximum to my students. And students will not watch videos if they are more than 10 minutes. So I always try limit to 10 minutes. But in this video, the first 2 minutes I will try go little slow. Why so? Because we are starting studying GST. Now when I say GST, we need to understand every aspect of GST because it becomes so important law which is replacing almost 29 other laws which were in India till 2017. Like we had sales tax, we had purchase tax, we had VAT, we had SEN-VAT, we had octroi, we had the luxury tax, we had entertainment tax, you name it, we had it. But one law, that is GST, which was implemented from 1st July 2017, replaced almost 29 of those laws, which is covering almost 95% of the indirect taxes as of today. When I say 95%, you might be already thinking what is left? The liquor or the fuel or the electricity are the few things which are left out from GST. But who knows, they might be added to GST over a period of time. So we are stopping studying of all the other laws in few years. Why are we studying all those laws even today? Because there might be few cases pending in the courts. So till the time all those cases are disbursed, we need to study the other laws. Once they are done, nobody is going to learn any of those laws except for GST. That means when you are practicing law, it is only GST which you need to study when you are going for any kind of law related to taxation. So if that is the concept, then we need to be little careful, conscious and cautious while choosing that what exactly we are learning under GST. So what I thought, instead of putting everything in one single presentation, I am giving choice to you guys. I am breaking all those concepts in different lectures so that you can choose what exactly you want to hear on GST. Like for example, in this presentation, I am going to give little bit of concept and the background for GST, and the very important part of this presentation is I am going to cover the 17 years journey before we brought GST. That is journey from year 2000 to 2017. Hope that makes little sense. With that, I am getting into my rapid speed from my first slide. As I said, we had so many taxes. We had octroi, we had sales, we had SEN-VAT, we had service, we had turnover taxes, we had excise, we had purchase taxes, we had advertisement taxes, we had entertainment taxes, luxury taxes, entry taxes, central sales taxes, you name it, we had it. Like if you are buying something from Tamil Nadu and if you are producing that in Karnataka and if you are selling that in UP, you had to learn tax law from 3 different states along with central laws. Now, whoever was in business, it is not about just running the business. He need to be tax gyani also. Now, what is the requirement? We are one nation. Why can't we have one law? That is the thinking behind this entire concept, and to understand the concept in detail, we need to understand little bit of background, which is my next slide. As I said, we are one nation, but then we have so many states and union territories. I'm not even taking the risk of telling the number of states or union territories that we have, because by the time I say the numbers, there might be increase also. Now, if we are having so many states and union territories, then we have central laws, then every state has its own rules. Now, when you are doing business, it becomes very essential for you to understand all those state laws where you are buying the raw materials or where you are selling your finished goods or where you are manufacturing all those stuffs. Now, this is stopped in France in the year 1954 by having one tax, that is GST, as indirect taxes. But then almost 160 nations implemented GST in their nation. And Canada is the only nation which had dual taxes till India got into that list. Now, if so many of those countries believing in GST, then we had to have such kind of arrangement because we already had lot of cumbersome issues when it comes to law of taxation, especially with regards to indirect taxes. So then the thought started on GST, and we started observing the GST rates that are being implemented in different countries of the world, and we realized that the average rate of GST is about 15% to 20%. Then we decided to go ahead with 0 to 28% of GST, and that story I will tell in a different presentation. For now, we need to understand the phases, that 17 years of journey which I have said, which I am going to explain in my next slide. As I said, the phases of GST is a story of 17 years, which I am covering in 3 slides. I am covering few major milestones as far as GST implementation is concerned, and I am leaving a choice to you guys to listen the entire story or just take the screenshot of all those 3 slides. Now, the story unfolded in the year 2000 with the leadership of Atal Bihari Vajpayee by forming a GST review committee in the leadership of Azim Das Gupta, who was the then finance minister of NDA government. During 2002, the Kelkar task force was formed to assess the same, and during 2006, for the first time, GST implementation date was announced as 1st April 2010 by the then finance minister P. Chidambaram. During 2007, a state empowered committee was constituted to know the anticipated impact of GST on different states, and during 2007, discussion on the report submitted by the joint working committee happened. And during 2008, final report was submitted by the joint working committee, which was later accepted by the government with minor changes in the year 2008 December. Now, 2008 is important because the same year the Kelkar task force also suggested unifying all the indirect taxes in the form of GST. Now 2009, Pranab Mukherjee again said that we are ready with the skeleton of GST and we are ready to go on board on 1st April 2010 as decided in the year 2006. Now 2009, the EC, which was headed by Azim Das Gupta, which was formed in the year 2000, also gave a proposal of GST regime, but in the year 2010 the government introduced the mission mode project that laid the foundation of GST, and this project, with the budgetary outlay of rupees 1133 crores computerized commercial taxes, and saying so they postponed the project implementation by 1 year. As I said, Congress postponed the implementation date from 1st April 2010 to 1st April 2011. Before bringing the law, Congress government had to pass the Constitution Amendment on GST, so they proposed the bill in the name of Constitution 115th Amendment Act. However, this required the special majority, that is 2/3 from both the houses as well as 50% of the state assemblies, which they couldn't get. So what they did, they gave a deadline to the state committees saying that they have to resolve all the issues within the states within December 2012. Now, few states were not agreeing for GST because they were going through laws, especially who were in manufacturing setup. Now, I am going to explain all those story in my next presentation. However, during 2013, central government declared that whoever is going through laws, whichever state is going through laws because of GST implementation, we will compensate all those states by giving or by keeping 9,000 crores rupees as a compensation budget. However, the states did not agree for that, and 2013 the standing committees submitted their final report and government agreed the same with few corrections. But before even government bring the bill, the Amendment Act itself got lapsed in the year 2014, and the same time the government also got changed. During 2014, Arun Jaitley submitted the 122nd Amendment Bill, and opposite asked to review the same with standing committee. During 2015, government announced that 1st April 2016 will be the implementation date. But 2015 August, the Rajya Sabha voted against the bill, and again it gone to the first square itself. 2016, the GST fixed rate concept of 18% was ruled out, and then in the year 2016, Ministry of Finance releases the draft model law on GST to the public, expecting suggestions and views. And finally, in the year 2016 August, opposite agrees to pass the bill in Rajya Sabha with 4 broad changes for which the ruling party agreed. And finally, on September 2016, the Honorable President gives his consent to the bill. But the story never ends here. 2016 is a landmark year as far as GST is concerned because a lot of progress happened in that year. Now remember, it was not just about the special majority from Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. The 50% of consent from the state assemblies was also required, and during 2016, Assam became the first state to approve GST, and then the opponent government which was ruling in Bihar also gave the approval on this particular bill, and it became the first state where the opponent government gave approval for GST. In the year 2016, one more major landmark is the GST Council was formed to decide the tax rates, the exemptions and limits, and then the GST network was also formed to give online network to solve the problems and questions of the consumers and businessmen. During 2017 March, the GST Council fixed the final rates of GST as 5, 12, 18 and 28%, and during May 2017, the launch date of GST was announced as 1st July 2017. And 1st July 2017, the GST got implemented. And then we are still discussing on GST and discussing what are the advantages and disadvantages of GST. Now that will be my next presentation. With that, I am putting full stop to this particular presentation. By the way, I have one last request. If you guys know any important or interesting or landmark judgment pertaining to GST as a case law, please put as a message so that I can study about that particular case law and use that as a material in my next video. With that, I am concluding. Please subscribe my channel. Please like, share and comment my videos. All the very best for your exams, and thank you so much for watching me.